Slupski!
Hey, and welcome back to Joe on Joe. It's me, Joe Slupski, your host, where every week we watch an episode of G.I. Joe in order and give our commentary on it. I'm pleased this week to introduce my special guest he's been on the show before. Previously, he was on an episode called 20 Questions. And I am so happy to have him back. It's actor clown himself, Mr. Jeff Taub.
Hey, how you doing, Joe?
You're doing really well, Jeff. Thank you so much for coming back to Joe on Joe.
Thanks for having me back. It's awesome.
Yeah, man, we couldn't keep you away.
No.
Last time it was that Geraldo Rivera episode where there was gas canisters of all kinds.
Oh, yeah, it was.
And everyone went into a laughing fit at the end of the episode, right?
Vivid memories after watching that of having watched it back in the day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, just from the whole laughing canisters and sneezing canisters, and they were all different colors and everything in the animation. It was just brought back a lot of memories.
That's hilarious. Well, today's episode is actually a two-parter. So for those of you listening at home, this is part one of The Traitor.
Yes.
Do you recall this episode at all? It's got Dusty becoming the titular traitor of the G.I. Joe team.
This does have memory. I do have memories of this. Yes.
It's so good.
Yes.
It's so good. It's written by Buzz Dixon, which, Buzz Dixon is he's like the pedigree name when it comes to all this stuff. Transformers.
Oh.
And I think he was a showrunner on Transformers.
Yeah, his name is in a lot of different vehicles and cartoons of the time.
Totally. Yeah. And so Buzz wrote these two episodes. So I think, and it really shows. They're great.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is this one of the few, other than the mini-series ones that they did, where they did a two-parter?
Yeah, there's a handful of two-parters. We had one just a little while ago with my favorite two-parter, The World Without End. There was the two-parter where Cobra, the one we did with Aubrey Sitterson from the G.I. Joe comic book, where the Cobra kidnaps the Joe's family.
That's right.
That was a two-parter. I know in the future there's a couple two-parters coming up. I think I feel like Raise the Flag's a two-parter, but yeah, you're right. There's only a handful, so you're here for a special day. I don't think you knew that when you signed up to come over and record.
Well, I'm happy to be here for a two-parter because they're special. You can get a little more in depth into the storyline, yet they are not as long as like the big 5-part epic miniseries.
It's great because it throws a different rhythm to the show when you watch them every week on like one after another.
Yeah,
you see that there's a rhythm to it, which is fine. There's a rhythm to every TV show that you watch. Right?
Sure.
So when you throw in a two-parter, it throws that rhythm off, and I think that's fun. It's refreshing because you're like, wait a minute, there's only 2 minutes left. They got to resolve this. How are they gonna? Oh no, it's
it's a two-parter.
Yeah, if you're watching it for the first time and you don't realize that it's part one, you're like, what?
And even in the two-parter, someone's falling, and then you have to wait a week to see what's going to happen.
Always with the falls. Always with the falls.
No matter what it is.
Well, if you're out there, you want to find Jeff on all the social medias, Twitter and Instagram, right?
Yeah.
He's at Actor Clown. And if you want to follow me, it's at Joe on Joe Pod. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook, Twitter. And you can send me an email at joeandjoepod@gmail.com. If you want to be a guest, come on the show. We're welcome to have you. Now, Jeff, before we go any further, you were a part of an organization that recently announced that it is retiring itself.
Yes.
They're shutting the doors, but they don't really have doors, so they're closing up the tents, I guess.
Yeah, they don't even have tents anymore, so they're shutting down arenas.
You studied at the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus Greatest Show on Earth.
Yeah, I studied. I was fortunate enough to attend Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus Clown College way back in 1992.
Wow. So when you heard the news that they were closing up, what was it like for you?
It was a little surreal. I mean, other than seeing the show occasionally when it comes to town and being hired every once in a while when they would come through to do promotional work for them, I don't have a lot of deep ties to the show as much anymore as I did, back in the 90s.
Yeah.
But it's still, there's a Facebook group for people who attended Clown College through the years, which actually went from the late 60s, early 70s, all the way up until 1997.
Penn Jillette went to Clown College.
Penn Jillette went to Clown College, although he'll never admit it.
Oh, no, he talks about it all the time.
Oh, really? There was a point in time where he would not talk about it.
Oh, really? Okay.
There was a point in time where he wouldn't talk about it.
He talks about it on his podcast quite a bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he always refers to it as Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus Greatest Show on Earth.
Oh, yeah, because they drill that into you.
Right.
Because not only when you were a clown, not only were you a clown to perform and to entertain, but you were sort of the mascot,
ambassador,
and the ambassador clown. So you would do a lot of television spots, radio spots, meet and greets, public visits, and things like that while the show was in town.
Right.
So you were kind of the face for the show, and so that was it. You know, Ringling Brothers and Butterman Bailey Circus is coming, the greatest show on earth, and all that kind of stuff. You know.
Were you ever featured on their TV commercials?
No, I was never on a TV commercial, but however, a website did a article about the show closing and did sort of like a slideshow retrospective of like 40 or 50 different pictures from when it first started. You know,
sure.
80, 90, it's 146 years is how long the show's been going on.
Wow.
But it was actually, so stuff going back to like, the 20s and 30s and 40s through the modern era. And when they got to the modern era, I'm flipping through the slides and there I am in one of them.
Oh, really?
Full makeup and everything, boom, like front and center with some other cons. And I just was like, well, that's kind of sad, but kind of nice.
That's kind of great.
I wasn't expecting that.
What years were you there again?
I attended in 92.
Yeah, and then did you tour with the show?
I didn't tour with the show full time, but I did promotional work, which is called advanced clowning.
Okay.
On and off, basically, from like 93 to about a few years ago. They stopped calling us a few years ago, and I think that was when they were trying to save a little more money, I think. Yeah. Because the crunch was happening.
Do you know why did they close because of like the general trend towards like protecting animals and not allowing animals to be used in like showmanship fashions?
I think that was definitely a pie piece of the puzzle, if you will. I think it was a number of factors, and this is just me personally, and having talked with people on the show.
Of course.
People in the community that I know, and I have great friends that I've known since the early '90s that are still friends today. And I think the general consensus is a few things. One. People aren't coming to arenas to see the show anymore because it's just the culture's changed.
Yeah.
The way younger people view things has changed.
Right.
The animal part of it is certainly part of it. My personal thing was that like I always thought and had heard that all the animals on the show were treated with the utmost respect and taken care of very, very well.
Do you have any quick, fun Ringling Brothers stories, like fun stories that we can share about like life on the road or life with clowning with all these Ringling Brothers guys? And you feel free to change the names. Like if it was Slappy the clown that did something, you can say it was Zippy the clown. Like you don't have to really, really use the correct clown name.
Well, I mean, you're on the road, and especially when you're new on the show, new performers are called. Especially clowns on all circuses, but Ringling Brothers in particular, are referenced as First of Mays, and that goes back to the time where shows wouldn't tour year-round. They wouldn't start touring until the 1st of May when the weather was nicer and there wasn't snow and mud and this, and because they performed in tents, and they traveled by cars and rail and this, and outperformed outside. So shows would normally start at the beginning of spring, 1st of May. So if you were new to the show, you were called a 1st of May. And that's just putting a big target on you for the other season performers and people to mess with you and do things like that.
What would they do to you?
Oh, I've heard stories and seen things like you have people would have foot lockers or steamer trunks to put all their costumes and clothes in. And things as simple as, let's take all the drawers out of their trunk and just fill it with Barbasol shaving cream with all their stuff still in it, and then put them back. Let's take out all their costumes and put in like totally wrong costumes. Just think let's put.
So you're saying clown bullying is a problem?
Exactly. Let's put stuff in their makeups that way, and then keep them busy. So that way, when they're late and they have to go run before the show, and they know that they're late and they have to put on their makeup, they don't even think, and then they go to put on their makeup, and it has like shoe polish in it, or glitter, or something totally gross or obscene. So I've heard all these stories. The cutest story. That I can tell, which is an adorable one, and I was actually there for it, and this was a few years later. This was in the mid-'90s. I was touring on another show, and I was in New York. And Ringling Brothers was at Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
That was where they would do for like 3 weeks or a month at Madison Square Garden. And, of course, all the performers who lived in New York who had been with the show and whatnot would come to see the shows. And after one of the shows, there were a number of us. There were like 10 or 15 people who had been on the show, clowns and stuff. We were all hanging out in between shows, out in one of the rings, in the performing space and all that. And a couple of the clowns who were the Parishes, I'll give you their last name, they had a daughter who was about 2 at that point, born and raised on the circus.
Okay.
They were both clowns. He was the boss clown. They had been with the show since the mid-'80s, early mid-'80s. This was the mid-'90s. And they were done performing, and they said, oh, do you want to meet her? Do you want to come in? So she came out with her nanny that would watch her during the shows. And they were like, go to your mom. And so she ran, and she's 2. And she's running across, and they have rubberized ground for all the performers. And she's running into the ring. And she trips, going full tilt towards her parents. We're all watching this. Does a huge face plant right into the ground. Something that you would expect a kid to start crying and bawling and everything. And she, landed hard.
Yeah.
Luckily, A, it's a rubberized surface. But B, popped back up like it was nothing, raised her arms up, and went ta-da.
Shut up.
Because that's what she saw people do for the first 2 years of her life. And we all just broke out into applause and were crying. And so
That's adorable.
Yeah, still now she's of course, teens, 20s and something.
Yeah.
I think she's a performer of some type, but that's just something
that's adorable.
Yeah, you get ingrained in a certain niche culture and you
Sure.
learn from that culture,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So
I learned,
things
I learned when I fell, I would stand up and I would drop the F-bomb. That's,
Right.
and I'd be like,
Right.
ta-da!
Right. But when you see your mom and dad and your friends and these other
Of
people
course.
every day fall and bounce back up and have big smiles, that's what you do. And
I
she
love it.
did, and there you go. God bless her.
That's awesome, Jeff. That's a great story. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Well, we're going to get into the show.
Great.
Have you watched any more G.I. Joe since we did the last one?
The last one, I have watched a bunch. The last one, I'm a little behind in my podcast listening of all my podcasts.
How dare you.
I know. The last one that I did see, which was one of my favorites, and I was so happy to listen to it and all, was Excalibur.
Oh, yeah.
Storm Shadow getting Excalibur,
Yeah.
chopping like tanks and things.
That's borderline. It's a borderline crazy episode, but it's fun.
Causing like El Nino type weather to happen because he's trying to leave the British Isles with it. It was just amazing.
It's a borderline
fun episode.
It's a borderline shark jump episode for me.
Yeah,
just because it's a little too mystical.
It is,
but it's fun.
But a
It's
ninja
fun.
with Excalibur.
A ninja with Excalibur, yeah.
fantastic.
Absolutely. I love it. Well, this is not a ninja with Excalibur. This is a desert trooper with a medical bill. This whole thing goes away, by the way, with Obamacare.
Okay.
So let's get into this episode and we'll figure out why.
Let's do it.
Again, the opening is amazing.
Gotta love it.
We say this every episode.
You gotta love it.
Someone pointed out to me, what was the revelation?
Mm.
Oh, that the snake plane. We talked about this and the show. It looks like the plane from V.
Oh,
Like the ship from V.
kinda.
It kind of sort of does.
Kinda.
Yeah.
No, I think in this promo, doesn't it get destroyed? Or it's been destroyed on the show before.
Oh, I think that. Yeah, I think in the promo it gets destroyed. Yeah.
Someone's got to know what the value of this thing was and how much it cost.
Yeah, I mean it gets destroyed at the end.
Because
here.
this is like $1 billion, billions of dollars worth of
which always made me curious.
Cobra plane.
So let's talk about Shield from G.I. Joe, or I'm sorry, Shield from Marvel.
Marvel, yeah.
They put all that money. They fly the helicarrier.
Yeah.
And it's floating above the earth. How many times has that crashed, and how much money has that cost us?
Right.
So we're looking at the Traitor. It's written by Buzz Dixon, who we said is amazing.
We just talked about.
But how much money are you flying over?
Yeah.
This, and I get you want fast response times, but how fast of a response really is it?
Right.
We open the show with a bang. There's literally like an oil freighter tanker that just plows into a boat that's docked.
Another oil tanker size vehicle that has all kinds of barrels on it.
Yep. And from this tanker, which the tanker that crashed, it looks pretty janky. A bunch of Cobra soldiers emerge, but oh no, it's not that janky. It was a ploy, a disguise.
Ploy, a ruse. It was in disguise.
A ruse.
Yeah.
Some
It's
would
actually
say.
a Cobra vessel that's all high tech.
Cobra Commander sends the twins out, and they're here to steal these like red canisters, whatever's in them. We don't really know yet. Poison.
Yeah, Daikon 98, he said.
Yeah.
The specificity of giving it a name.
Right. And here come the Joes. They've got a Mauler, and there's another Joe vehicle, and they were in disguise. So actually, they were just there protecting the gas. The twins get knocked down, and they're going back to the ship. Yeah. So like every helicarrier that crashes, yeah, it's an aircraft carrier. I get it, but aircraft carriers sit on the water, and they don't sink all that often.
Right.
Helicarriers, as we saw in Captain America 2,
yeah,
can crash pretty easily.
Oh yeah,
and they do often in Marvel comics, you know.
Right.
And it's like, I get it for fast response, but
yeah,
maybe save a couple $1 billion,
right.
maybe, and just kind of keep it land based.
The
Joes aren't stopping. They're
not.
They're blasting away at Cobra.
And they were kind of hidden away in warehouses, and after Cobra attacked, they came out like they were like, we got to maybe Cobra. This is a high profile target for Cobra, maybe.
Oh yeah, which is a detail that I really like about this. The Cobra is escaping on the Cobra Hydrofoil, which actually this might be one of the early appearances of that. I don't really recall seeing the Hydrofoil a ton. I think Cobra Commander looks great in this. I think the animation looks solid in these episodes.
Yep.
And we learn that the Joes have an armor treatment that deflects laser fire. There we get the backside of Grunt. That's Footloose, the backside of Footloose.
Yeah.
And we've got Dusty and Roadblock and Duke there. So the armor treatment, they shoot lasers at it and the lasers bounce off, which is actually a plot point from a previous episode.
Right.
They've had that idea before. So
okay.
It's I like that. It's a little bit of continuity.
They kind of brought it back, and Cobra's not happy because they weren't able to do their plan at all.
And Dusty is going to take a little downtime to visit his sick mama.
I'm home. Dusty, come on in.
And she comes out looking all Professor Xavier.
Dusty.
Yeah.
And she's very frail. She's very, very ill. She looks like Rue McClanahan. Not Rue, the Golden Girl.
Golden
Estelle.
Girls.
She looks like Estelle from
She looks
Golden
like
Girls.
Estelle.
Yeah.
She's got a breathing mask on her for oxygen, and
which also means she also looks like she should be on a casino boat in Hammond, Indiana. Hammond, Indiana.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
There's nothing better than walking into a casino, seeing an old person on oxygen smoking a cigarette.
Right.
At the slot machine. That image, I defy you to not see that at every casino that you go to outside of Las Vegas. You see it in Vegas too, but outside of Las Vegas, you see it at every casino.
We have to discuss the delinquent payments on Smiler. Don't you bother my
So, of course, an angry gentleman comes to the door and says that she's late on a loan and she doesn't have money for medical care, right? So once again, if they had the Affordable Care Act, if Ronnie Reagan had done something about health care,
she'd be able to keep her home. And oh my goodness! But now she's thrown herself into a tizzy about it, and she's collapsed.
This whole thing would not be happening.
No,
were the Affordable Care Act in place?
Yeah,
I feel like we should take a copy of this and send it to all the senators and be like, watch this episode and watch what happens when you don't have good medical care.
Yeah,
you end up getting traitors in the G.I. Joe squad.
Right. Well, most of the senators might actually feel sorry for the guy here that Dusty's threatening.
They would. However, Dusty's a veteran, so they would, to their constituents, they'd want to get behind the veteran.
That's a good point.
Right?
That's
now, they may not actually feel that way.
I love the pun.
The stumble in?
Yeah. It's a cowboy-themed bar called the Stumble Inn, I-N-N.
Yeah. You can just say it's a country and western bar. I don't feel like it's a cowboy themed bar.
Oh, okay,
I feel
country
like it's
and
an
western.
Actual cowboy bar.
Well, okay, yeah.
I don't think these guys are fronting.
No,
Jeff.
No, okay. I just saw lots of cowboy hats, and
they're for real cowboys.
Well, now Tomax and Zaymont show up.
Yeah, those guys are and he shoves a gun right in his groin area. But so Dusty's chilling out. This whole scene is a highlight of this weird relationship that the twins have with Cobra, because obviously Dusty knows they're Cobra, but they're technically not, like they're businessmen, you know what I mean? So, So he was like, I know you. You're with Extensive Enterprises.
Yeah.
But really, he knows them because they're Tomax and Zaymont.
Right.
Right? I feel like it's like when Lex Luthor ran for president. And
Yeah.
Superman's like, I know you're bad, but I don't have any evidence on you, so I got to let the people choose, you know?
Right.
So he's like, I know you guys are Cobra, but I can't really arrest you on it. Okay, this dude is great.
Yeah. There we go.
Old prospector, if this was Buzz Dixon or whoever directed this episode, whoever decided to put the old prospector in there to pop up and say yeehaw fight is amazing.
Yeah.
They're my hero.
No, it's great. And as soon as one person starts fighting, it's that old cliche of everyone starts throwing up tables just because they're like, oh, we were all having a good time until then. Now we're all going to have a fight.
And they're punching their friends.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, man, we got to punch each other now.
It has all the cliches.
There were two dudes that were the same character model, and it's like they punch each other just because, like, you're wearing my outfit.
Oh, madre.
So Dusty comes home, and he's got all black eyes, and he's all beaten up.
How's Mom?
But if you notice, he has the business card of Extensive Enterprises in his pocket.
Who basically have offered him, give us some info on G.I. Joe, and your mom's
Right.
medical bills will go away.
Exactly.
We ran a
So now we cut to
computer
a
analysis of recent Cobra attacks.
briefing
And the
mission
results are none too
with Flint and Duke.
Cobra was trying to steal Dialcon 98.
They're explaining what Cobra was after.
And a mind control gas.
And it turns out that gas was mind control. Look at this continuity. He's still got the black eyes.
Yeah.
They still went to the effort of drawing that, which I think is awesome.
And he's fingering the Extensive Enterprises business card.
He certainly is. We got Grunt. Looks like Grunt's there. Looks like CoverGirl is there. Gung Ho. Looks like that's Airborne.
I saw Stalker.
Stalker was
Back
there.
of Stalker's head.
And we go to commercial with one of the best commercial breaks because it's all about Dusty thinking.
These messages.
Today's Filecard features on the Cobra Underwater Elite Trooper, codenamed Hydro-Vipers, also known as the Demon of the Deep. The Hydro-Vipers are qualified eels, the Cobra frogmen, who volunteer to be surgically altered to withstand the nitrogen narcosis and other side effects of deep diving. Synthetic webs are implanted between their fingers, and subcutaneous fat production is stimulated by chemical injections to provide natural insulation. The long-term effects of these procedures is known to be psychologically destabilizing. Quote, I'm sorry, these guys just aren't human anymore. They have a handshake like dead mackerel, and they leave damp spots on all the furniture. I realize that they're virtually unbeatable in underwater combat, but so is a great white shark, and I'll bet the shark is friendlier. Coming out in 1988, the Hydro-Viper was one of the first really garish figures. He has an all-purple costume with a red mask, gigantic tubes connecting to his air breather, which, if they're going to genetically alter him to give him fins, I don't know why they couldn't genetically alter him to give him gills either. And he also came with a manta ray accessory. He had red flippers. I think it's a pretty cool idea, but it's definitely the first step towards a little ridiculous in the looks department when it comes to military figures. So, Hydro-Viper, Demon of the Deep, we salute you.
Now back to G.I. Joe.
Dusty was thinking about maybe taking them up on their offer.
Yeah.
And he's calling them.
Which is a great commercial break because it's all about character and emotional tension.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he calls the Crimson Twins, and he doesn't offer the secret armor treatment, which is what they wanted. But he's going to give them a different plan that the Joes are going after.
Run it by us, Dusty, and
So it's kind of like, I'm not giving you exactly what you want, but I'll give you a little bit. So it's like he's playing both sides too. Like he's saying like, well, I don't trust you 100%. They probably don't trust him 100%.
Right.
He's like, but I'll give you something to show you that I'm of goodwill.
Here's a little something.
Right, a little taste,
Yeah.
as they like to say in the mafia movies.
Because he doesn't want to really do this.
No, he doesn't. But,
No.
But he has to. He's mom.
He doesn't
He's got
think
a
he has
goal-
another choice.
He's got a golden girl that's sick at home.
Yeah.
Cargo planes. Cobra
And Shipwreck and Dusty and there's Snake Eyes. We haven't seen Snake Eyes in a long time, actually.
Ah.
He hasn't shown up on these episodes in a while. So that's exciting. And there's a whole bunch of paratroopers, and they're all landing into trees, which is weird. So the lasers start firing. We got blowtorch. Everyone's shooting. They're all shooting into the trees. Look at Snake Eyes. He's carrying a sword. He's not even
Yeah, he's
carrying
got a
gun.
sword.
He's like, I don't need a gun.
He's like, I got a sword,
I'm gonna
baby. I'm
chop
Snake
you.
Eyes.
Did you I had Dusty. Dusty was one of my favorites. I actually just talked about it a 2 episodes ago, I think. Dusty was one of my favorite toys.
Yeah.
I think that's why I love this episode so much growing up, because I really like playing with his figure. I was a big fan of it.
Uh-oh.
So one of the Cobra soldiers falls out of the tree, and he's a robot.
They're sort of like robotic mannequins, and their guns are just set on
Listen,
auto fire.
I'd like to say that they're precursor to the Cobra Bat.
Maybe so.
Because we haven't been introduced yet to the Battle
I
Android
mean, they don't
Trooper.
really move or anything.
Right.
They're just kind of there.
Dr. Mindbender brings the Battle Android Trooper when
Right.
they bring in Serpentor. I say these guys are like predecessors. Like the Cobra was playing around with this technology and they couldn't get it to work. Then in comes Dr. Mindbender and is like, with this Dr. Mindbender accent, I'm not going to try it.
Sure.
Hey, listen, look what I got. Here's a Battle Android Trooper.
Right.
Yeah.
Cobra Commander is happy as a clam.
Oh, he's very happy. And so while the Joes were fighting those robots, Cobra Commander got away with what he was trying to steal.
Yep.
Not unless they had an inside source.
So Duke says what everyone's thinking. There's
Yeah.
an inside source. There's leaks. There's leaks.
There's leaks. This
Just-
boat is taking on water.
Just like in today's politics, we've got leaks.
Dip him in honey and
I love
stick
this.
him on an anthill.
The Joes are in line at a place where a sign that says "Return Weapons," and they're in line returning their weapons back from
they're
the
back,
mission.
they're back at home. They want to make sure all their weapons are accounted for.
You wanted to see me?
We've got Duke, and they're using this technique, which they used a little bit in Flint's Vacation episode,
Dusty Rudat.
where they put like the dim light around to kind of give you a mood. You know, they don't do it a lot in the show, but when they do, it's awesome.
I can't reveal. Says Dusty is our traitor.
Duke
But we can't
is calling
bring
Dusty out.
charges without
Uh-oh.
proof.
How do you get this information?
So Duke is telling Flint, "We got to get Dusty. We got to get
I
Dusty.
want you to call Dusty
We
to
got to
the
trap
war
him."
room. We'll let him overhear certain plans. Plans to
And now
attack
we're
a
in
Cobra
we're in like a
base on
war
an
room that
abandoned
looks
oil
like
rig in the Gulf of Mexico.
Lex Luthor's map from Superman the movie.
Yeah.
When he's like, "This is my map of California."
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of where they're standing on. They're a giant map where they've apparently moved all these vehicles around
Right.
to
Little
discuss their. Yeah,
pieces
but
and-
the animation in that part is awesome.
Is really good.
Really love it, and
Kind of film noir even.
very film noir, and they've got these great close-ups of everybody, and the close-ups all look great.
But more bills keep coming.
So we cut to his mom, and Golden Girl's
See
not
what I
doing
can
well.
do.
No. More bills keep coming in.
Yep.
He's got the card again.
He's got the card. Okay, that's silly. The twins are literally balancing on their own heads on their desk for no good reason. That's to show they're acrobatic, and okay.
Yeah.
Listen, I couldn't do that.
Yeah, no.
What kind of acrobatics did they do with the clowns? Like, were you guys acrobatic clowns, or what were you like? What?
It went according to what you were able to do because people came in different skill sets and everything. But there were people who actually were like acrobatic level, like Olympic level, doing flips and twists. And some people did like mini trampoline jumps for clowny kind of slapstick. But it all centered around being slapstick and falling and doing a little tumbling. And you did according to what you could do.
Fun.
Yeah.
Fun. Now, you juggle a lot.
Yes.
You can juggle. So was that your big thing when you were a clown, or was that?
No, I wasn't I considered myself, I was very much a jack of all trades. I was very much like, unlike a G.I. Joe that had a specialty and was really good at their one thing. If there was a jack of all trades Joe, I probably would have been that in the circus as a clown. I could juggle fairly well. I could do acrobatics fairly well. I did everything a little pretty good. Yeah, I just kind of mushed it all together, but I didn't do one thing like the best.
Yeah. This is neat. So we've got the Joes on their next mission.
Slithered free again. I'll check underneath.
One of the cool things is one of the helicopters is towing that portable battle platform,
Right.
which was one of the bigger toys at the time. Like if the headquarters were like in a $60 price range, the battle platform was at like the $40 price range.
Okay.
And then the vehicles were like the $20 price range.
Right.
So like it was like that, like you see it right there. They're lowering it into the water, that platform.
Yeah.
I had it was awesome.
Yeah, no, I remember the
Remember
commercials for that. Yeah.
So cool. So the Joes are going to check out this abandoned platform. At least they think it's abandoned. And they left Dusty behind because they said if he is a traitor, we don't want him here to screw things up.
Right.
They're also wearing those sweet scuba gear outfits, which they wore last episode. It's such a good look, the yellow and black.
Yeah, it's pretty tight.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
What's this?
Oh, this is great.
Hey, they even got a medical plan.
See? Even Cobra! Even Cobra has medical insurance.
My goodness.
What is going on? If you don't know, Shipwreck just picked up a Cobra Life magazine, which was amazing.
With Cobra Commander on the
Which
cover.
Cobra Commander on the cover. It's kind of like O,
Yeah.
like the O magazine. Cobra Commander's
Yeah.
on every cover. But it's great. Like, even Cobra has health insurance. If Cobra had health insurance, the Joes should have had a good enough health insurance to take care of his mama.
I know. What about his family independence?
Right?
What's going on?
This is ridiculous.
Uh,
So there's a whole bunch of
oh.
So there's a whole bunch of explosives. Shipwreck and Deep Six are about to die.
G.I. Joe will return after these messages.
What? My brother's in trouble. How do you know? I know. Till now, Joe's had it easy. But now it's gonna get real hard. Cobra's tired, evil twin brothers, leaders of the Crimson Guard. They're never twins so much the same. If one's in trouble, the other feels pain. The Crimson Guard's the most dangerous foe. G.I. Joe! Can G.I. Joe stop the Crimson Guard? Find out in Marvel Comics.
Back to G.I. Joe.
So that's an exciting commercial break. With we got a fuse blowing off. They discovered a whole room full of TNT and explosives, and it was triggered.
They're basically all in a trap.
Yeah, caught in a trap. They can't walk out because they love USA too much, baby.
That's it.
And so so now everyone's just scrambling to get off this oil rig.
Yeah, Shipwreck turned on a light. And there it goes.
There it goes.
The fuse finally
Kaboom.
hit everything.
And another.
the thing...
G.I. Joe's got the best explosions.
Oh,
Duke!
Duke got blown off the platform.
Yeah, he did. He for real did. Also, contrary to what was said in the last episode, where they said Shipwreck was not a certified diver. Which, I mean, realistically, come on. Of course Shipwreck's a certified diver.
Yeah.
But Lady J called him out on it, and now here he is being a diver again.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Deep Six and Shipwreck. They save
Saved
Duke because Duke is sinking quickly.
Unconscious, underwater.
Oh, he's out.
Lots of debris falling.
Oh, there's a ton of debris falling on him. Wow, this is exciting. And not unlike the G.I. Joe movie, there's no ice that's falling in water.
Right.
Because ice floats.
Yeah.
So everything goes down, and the guys haven't surfaced yet. So we think they're dead. Oh no!
Yes, they got to their.
Here comes the shark
and saved the day. Now they're on their platform that they lowered.
Yeah.
Duke, is he
breathing?
He's actually got a head wound.
Some blood there.
Yeah. So this episode has given us Dusty's black eyes, Duke's head wound, for real actual injuries, which normally, you don't get, they get hit or something.
Right.
And they're like, ow, it hurts, but then they move on.
Yeah.
Actual shown results of fighting.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's good.
Dusty is now taking pictures back at headquarters
of top secret
stuff, and I love it. It's the camera angle.
Secret armor formula.
And Shipwreck punch him right in the. Oh.
Shipwreck?
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait for what? Arnold Rudat.
Oh man, Shipwreck's gonna bust him in the chizops.
This is not gonna stand.
It will not stand. Here's what's awesome about this right here. How often do we see actual Joes actually fighting each other?
No, because they get along.
They get along.
Like it's nobody's business.
And listen, nobody's mind controlled here. We've seen it before where they're mind control and they have to fight in arenas,
Right.
No, this is I'm upset with you. I'm going to beat the crud out of you. By the way, his camera, branded Cobra.
A branded Cobra mini camera, Cobra symbol on it.
Listen. If you're just in case someone happens to see it, maybe you don't put the Cobra signal on it.
How did they get that to him anyway? Did he get a FedEx package at G.I. Joe headquarters?
You're telling me G.I. Joe doesn't have a small camera that you can?
I don't know.
Why has it got to be a Cobra camera?
I know.
Oh my god,
so funny.
So there was a fire that started, and Shipwreck got knocked out, and he almost died in the fire. Dusty pulled him out, and now Dusty's making a break for it. He's in a mauler, still a mauler.
He's making a break for it in a mauler.
Literally just
Yeah.
I just repeated what Lady J
Exactly.
said. Maybe because I watched this episode this morning in prep.
Right? Lady J just shot rockets at the mauler, and this tank is now on its side, and they've pretty much captured Dusty now.
Yeah, they did. They got their guns drawn on him, and he is looking upset. And we go directly to a court-martial.
All right, Dusty. You've been silent
Our boy
throughout
Flint
these proceedings. If you're going to speak
running the
you better
court-martial.
do it now.
Dusty's in his dress gear.
Then you leave us no
Cutter,
choice.
I love that because he's Navy royalty. So
Right.
he's on the
Joes
the
and
council.
jeopardize the security of
And
the
Flint
United
finds him
States.
guilty.
This court-martial finds you
Here we go.
guilty of treason. Dusty
Treason.
Rudat,
Wow.
you are hereby
Oh,
sentenced
man.
to life at hard labor in Fort
They
Wadsworth,
give him
Missouri.
life.
What?
Life.
What's amazing about this is how the Joes keep it all in-house.
Yes. It's like a secret tribunal.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually kosher.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there
Because they
should be a
are
little
part
bit
of the armed forces.
Yeah, there should be a little bit of oversight.
Yeah, right? It's like,
But on the other hand, it's effective,
yeah.
or is it?
And he doesn't want to talk. He doesn't even defend himself, though. He just
No,
says,
no.
I'm not going
He's
to
like,
say
I'm doing
anything.
it. Cut to Cobra Temple, and Cobra Commander basically says, let's break him out. He might be of use to us.
Yeah, let's
So-
save him.
Oh, man. Okay, first of all, Deep Six, you can take off your underwater gear. I get it. That's how we identify you. But, like, you're wearing a spaceman outfit. And
Around.
Yeah, or just around. Like
In the
it's-
daylight.
Yeah, like I can, in underwater, it's got to be easier to move around in that. But
Yeah.
without the buoyancy of water,
It's got to suck.
gotta
for
suck.
It's got to suck for him if he has to use the bathroom.
It's got to be terrible. But while they're transporting Dusty, here come a bunch of Cobra Fangs. Those dudes made it out. And they're attacking the prison. But now it's the beginning of The Fugitive, where his prison truck is getting attacked.
yeah.
He's getting freed.
They're getting the Cobra.
I didn't kill my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Cobra's busting him out.
They've got him.
They've got him. They got him in the.
He's
they
on
got
a
him in the
Cobra
helicopter
helicopter now.
Yep.
Dusty escaped.
And they're
Blast.
getting away.
Dusty's joined Cobra.
I love that Grunt's
None
there.
of our secrets
Although
are
did
safe.
Grunt left already
Wow.
in World Without End? Grunt
Huh.
left. Grunt left with Steeler.
tomorrow's
Continuity error. So we go to be a continued for next
To be
episode.
continued.
Jeff, what are we gonna do?
I don't know.
This is exciting. What a great show! Like for real.
What's
Yeah.
going to happen?
You're 10 years old. You're sitting at home, and this is what you get. Listen, we
Yeah.
know. Spoiler alert. Most likely, Dusty's not a bad guy.
No.
But if you're a kid, do you know that? No. Like,
No.
as far as you know, Dusty's like, I'm selling G.I. Joe out. I got to save my sick
I have to
grandmama.
do what I need to do. You guys didn't even give me the benefit of the doubt or anything. You just said life
Yeah.
in prison.
Yeah. I got to pay for these expensive drugs. I can't even let me go to Canada or Mexico to get them.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Well, the good point in this is that Dusty will now have the Cobra medical plan.
100%.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right. Finally, his mom. That's
Mom is fine.
That's really what the twins were offering. They weren't offering cash to
Yeah.
help his mom. They were literally saying, we can get you in a single payer system that
Yeah.
will just be wonderful for your your current.
He
employment.
sold his soul and beliefs so Mom could have a few more years of living in comfort.
Yeah. But
Gotta
again,
love your mama.
if only there were some kind of health care plan,
Come on, G.I. Joe.
we wouldn't be in this predicament.
Yeah.
Actor clown,
Yes.
Jeff Taub,
Yes.
you're my friend, and I'm so glad you're here this week.
This was so much fun. I can't wait for part 2.
All right, people. Thanks for listening so much. We're going to get to it next week. You'll get part 2 of this amazing show. Remember to find me at Joe and Joe Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Give me a follow. Go to Facebook. Give me a like. And if you want to give me a review, that'd be awesome too. Woo! So here we go. Thank you so much, Jeff. And now you, Joe. And Joeing is half the battle.